Have you, yes, you, the viewer, ever wanted to see a girl one could only describe as a Puriteen throw a fit over gore and porn existing on the internet? No? Well, too bad, because here we go. A commentator named Zezuli or Zezule made a video on bronies a year ago, and it was actually fucking horrible. We're just gonna jump straight into it because there's not much else I have to say, other than I will be skipping the first 45 seconds because it's not really important.
This is where we meet the bronies, for they like My Little Pony. Yes, the bros enjoy the ponies, so let's go and meet the bronies.
So today I'm going to be talking about something that's very personal to me, my childhood. Growing up, I've went through many phases, and I've already mentioned my K-pop phase. I have dabbled in every single fandom you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, I don't really believe that, seeing as you're about to go on a 20-minute rant about how much you hate gore and porn on the internet and how it shouldn't exist. Yeah, if you dipped your toes into anything possibly resembling a horror fandom, you would shit your pants. No, seriously, if you are upset by the shit that you're about to show in this video, you would not survive in the fucking creepypasta fandom.
But I'm not going to tell you guys everything about me just yet because I want you guys to slowly discover more about me because I'm a very interesting person.
I feel like people who have to tell people how interesting they are might not actually be that interesting.
But one of the phases that was incredibly prominent in my childhood is the show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Since I was a baby, I watched the show and played with the toys. And I was a huge fan up until I was like 10, I believe. So for most of my life, I had a really big fascination with these cartoon horses. Why am I randomly just bringing this up now? This show has long ended and there's literally a whole new generation of My Little Pony. Basically, recently I saw a TikTok on my For You page that inspired me to make this whole video. Here it is.
Honestly, My Little Pony is a kind of example of why grown men shouldn't be in safe spaces for young females, especially with all the gore and porn we were exposed to at such a young age.
This video was a wake-up call for me. It reminded me of my very first experience with the internet as a small child. And this TikTok isn't the only one that's bringing this subject matter up. There are multiple of them that all have hundreds of thousands of likes. So if you don't understand what this person in the TikTok is saying, the grown men that she's referring to are bronies, who are grown men who are interested in My Little Pony. And she brings up the fact that these men violated a safe space for children by exposing them with gore and wrong, which is basically adult media.
Oh my gosh, there must be some kind of massive grooming problem in the brony community. This stuff sounds horrible. Yeah, if you guess that she's literally just referring to bronies posting gore and porn online for fellow adults to look at, you'd be completely fucking right.
And this video has over 200,000 likes, so many people are agreeing with this.
Everyone agrees with me, so I must be right.
I mean, let's just take a look at the comments.
The way men were so excited to show little girls gore. The way I saw Pinkie Pie skin other ponies alive when I was 7. Most people's first experiences with gore, NSFW, has been with MLP. Mile HD is all I can think of, and the amount of MLP pregnancy art I've been exposed to is scary. You can't convince me it wasn't an actor trying to groom an entire generation. I wholeheartedly agree to that, especially at brony conventions meant for kids.
Most of the comments shown here are flawed for one reason or another, but I've just gotta stop you right there with that last one. You cannot groom an entire fucking generation. Grooming is individually taking advantage of individual children. Also, Zezule describes a brony as an adult man who likes My Little Pony. A convention for bronies, aka a brony convention, cannot be for children because the target audience is in the name. Bronies, adult men.
So if you weren't a fan of My Little Pony or you weren't on the internet back in the early 2010s, you probably have no idea what these people are talking about. I'll explain all that to you. A brony is a fandom name for grown men who enjoy My Little Pony. Yes, I know that sounds weird, but back in the 2010s, there was a strange phenomena that randomly started on 4chan, where a bunch of grown men just collectively decided to start liking My Little Pony. And normally, I wouldn't have an issue with that. Like, okay, go ahead, watch a cartoon. Literally, no one is stopping you. You have every right to enjoy a children's show, even if it's for girls. I mean, people literally fought and died in wars in order for you to have the right to say, do, and like whatever you want.
But that doesn't apply to if somebody were to want to draw porn or gore of these characters. You know, I guess that just doesn't count according to you. You can like the show, you just can't like the show in any non-family friendly adult way, because that's bad. Think of the children.
And honestly, the idea of grown men not being ashamed of liking something as girly as My Little Pony is actually really nice, in theory. Yeah, through toxic masculinity. Watch My Little Pony. But as you can see by the TikTok and by the fact that I'm making a whole video about this, bronies weren't just a group of guys who were harmlessly watching a cartoon for kids. I mean, at least not all of them. The fandom of bronies was actually incredibly harmful. And I think it's finally time that the children who grew up watching the show and who grew up around these freaks finally started saying something about their experiences. Because we're not 5 years old anymore. I'm a teenager. The 200,000 people who like the TikTok are probably teenagers. And we're all teenagers who got traumatized by these grown men who had to corrupt about sexualize and ruin My Little Pony for us. And I know for a fact a large majority of my audience are teenage girls, so when My Little Pony was airing, you guys were the target audience, so I hope this video will relate to a lot of you. And I hope we can relive our traumas together. Before I start discussing and reacting to the very traumatizing stuff that a lot of bronies produce, I'd first like to mention that I'm in no way trying to generalize bronies.
Except when you named your video Bronies Ruined My Childhood and called all bronies freaks. Other than that, you're not trying to generalize bronies.
I know for a fact that there is a light and dark side to every fandom, so if you're a grown man who happens to harmlessly like My Little Pony, I have nothing against you. I honestly couldn't care less. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the men who made disgusting, inappropriate My Little Pony content. So let's just start. So I did say I grew up with My Little Pony, but I want you guys to truly understand just how young I was. Most of this content that I'm about to show you came out like 8 to 10 years ago, and I'm currently 14, so I had to be like 4 to 6 years old at the time. So I was essentially a toddler who was still learning how to read. I just want you guys to keep that in mind moving forward. Also, yes, I grew up with the internet. I fully admit to that. You can go ahead and call my parents irresponsible for letting me watch the type of stuff that I'm about to show you, but how would they know I'm watching inappropriate, scary things when the thumbnails and titles for these videos were just good old harmless My Little Pony? When my parents checked my video history, they probably just thought I'm watching My Little Pony, because what else would you think when you see videos like this or this? You'd think nothing of it, right? Well, little 5-year-old Cesare also didn't think anything of it. Boy, was I surprised. I don't know if YouTube will allow me to show any more of that video, but it gets worse than that. Much worse than that. This was an animation made by Mr. Davey, who is an incredibly talented animator. Well, what did he use this talent to do? Oh, he just absolutely traumatized a whole generation of children. His most famous work has to be Smile HD, which is what I just showed you a snippet of. This video includes a song called Smile, which was sung by Pinkie Pie, and Pinkie Pie is a pink pony who likes to make everyone smile, and she loves having fun. Not in this video though. In this video, she murders every pony. Well, technically she does have fun while doing it, but little 5-year-old Cesare sure did not have fun when she first watched it.
Maybe, and hear me out, Cesare. Maybe it's because you weren't the target demographic of the content.
When I first watched the video, I thought it was actually a real episode from the cartoon because of how good the animation was. But then all the ponies got brutally beaten to death by Pinkie Pie. I was never the same. It was my first time being faced with gore, and yes, there was a disclaimer at the beginning of the video, but I was like a little 4 or 5-year-old Kazakh girl. Do you think I could read disclaimers? No.
I was 5 and watched mature content on a 13+ website. Sure, there was a disclaimer, but I couldn't read, so that's the creator's fault and not my parents' fault for letting me on a 13+ website. By that logic, a 5-year-old could go onto a porn site, click the yes I am 18 button, and it would be the site's fault because, oh, she couldn't read. What the fuck? When little Timmy stumbles across Repo the Genetic Opera, it must be Repo the Genetic Opera's fault, even though there's a clear age rating. Like, I seriously do not understand this logic at all.
And here's a tip for you. If you're animating an incredibly traumatizing video and you're using characters from a show that is primarily watched by toddlers, maybe you shouldn't expect toddlers to read and or take disclaimers seriously.
Refer to my last interjection.
Anyways, this video wasn't Mr. Davey's only offense. He created many gory or inappropriate pony animations, and his videos would get millions of views. Mr. Davey's channel was just filled with these videos, and another one that became incredibly popular is Cupcakes HD. Just like with Smile HD, Cupcakes HD follows Pinkie Pie murdering someone. This time it's Rainbow Dash, who happens to be my favorite pony, so this traumatized me even more as a little girl. Basically, Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie start off by dancing and baking cupcakes, and then Rainbow Dash gets knocked out by Pinkie Pie, and when she awakes, she gets tortured, dismembered, and all of her internal organs get ripped out and cut up and then mixed in with cupcake batter. Now, I'm not sure if Mr. Davey originally came up with this story.
He didn't come up with the idea, it was based on a creepypasta called Cupcakes.
But this trope of Pinkie Pie killing Rainbow Dash and turning her into a cupcake has like millions and millions of animations made about it.
Yes, because it was based on an extremely popular creepypasta.
All of them are equally terrifying, and all of them have millions of views. In the end, Mr. Davey's channel actually ended up getting copyright claimed by Hasbro, which is the company that produces My Little Pony, so it ended up being deleted. All of his animations have been re-uploaded though, so you'd be able to find them. I wouldn't recommend you go search for them, but you can if you want to. Basically, I personally think that it's a good idea the channel got taken down, because I know for a fact that literally millions of toddlers pooped themselves in the diapers after watching these, but every brony edgelord was super mad about it. Like, God, Hasbro is such a triggered snowflake. Why'd they have to remove the legend Mr. Davey?
You even admitted he was a talented animator. Why are you shocked by this?
Like, are you serious? Do you not see what he was posting? Like, okay, gore is fun when you're older, but not when you're 5.
Yeah, and it wasn't meant to be watched by 5-year-olds.
Anyways, Pinkie Pie wasn't the only pony who was murderous. Bronies created a whole culture around murderous ponies. They basically corrupted each and every character, like Rainbow Factory, for example, where Rainbow Dash kills ponies and turns them into rainbows. Or how about Little Miss Rarity, where Rarity becomes addicted to self-harm and self-mutilation. But most of these YouTube animators wouldn't even bother adding any type of disclaimer. Like, you're animating children's cartoon rainbow ponies. If you're gonna make them kill each other, please make it clear to the audience that this animation about cartoon horses for kids isn't actually made for kids.
Smile HD had a disclaimer, albeit a sarcastic one. You even mentioned this disclaimer earlier in the fucking video. So, when there's no disclaimer, you complain, but when there is one, you say, well, I couldn't read. This logic is stupid. Cupcakes HD also had a sarcastic disclaimer that was a lot more obvious. Also, let me go look up My Little Pony gore into the YouTube search bar and take a look at what comes up. Let's see, that first one has a gore 13+ warning. The second one has a warning in the actual video when you first click on it. The third one has kill abuse in the title, and the fourth one has a disclaimer in the video. The fifth one has gore 13+ in the title, and the sixth and seventh one have kill abuse in the title. Interesting. Point is, you're wrong, blatantly. Also, I want to mention that the contrast between children's entertainment and dark themes is not a new thing. It's a very common trope. Any horror media featuring dolls, clowns, kids' toys, kids' cartoons, etc., fall into this category. Five Nights at Freddy's also falls into this category. It is very popular, and it is not a new thing. And it's not intended to groom an entire generation like that one person claimed.
That doesn't exactly seem ethical, Rarity.
Lastly, in terms of gore, I want to talk about the series Pony.Mauve, produced by Hot Diggity Demon. This series exposed me to the darkest and most messed up stuff I had ever seen as a small child. Don't get me wrong, now that I'm older, I can appreciate the artistic and comedic skill that went to producing this series.
Yet I'm gonna shit on it anyway, because think of the children.
And the creator probably didn't want children to watch it, but they did, because he used characters from a children's show. So, of course, kids are gonna watch it.
Hello, MG from the future here. Past MG forgot something she wanted to cover that she didn't put in the script, like a dingus. So, I'm just gonna do that now. I skipped like a 3 to 4 minute chunk of the video because it was basically just discussing the dark themes in MLP, MOV, and in that part I skipped, there was this clip.
And the series basically corrupted every single My Little Pony character, turning them into drug addicts,
Pinky's experimentation with cocaine also took its toll.
psychopaths,
What'd I tell y'all about coming in my shed?
racists,
Oh, please. Everybody knows Mexicans aren't real people.
and degenerates.
For all of these, she shows a clip of what she's talking about, essentially. But she doesn't do that for Rainbow Dash. The reason why she doesn't do that for Rainbow Dash is because it makes no sense if you actually know what the word degenerate means.
Oh my god! Look at all this porn!
Swag.
That's not what degenerate means. Degenerate means an immoral or corrupt person. I also personally think that, frankly, there were better things to bring up about Rainbow Dash than a one-off gag that you could easily cut out of the series and it wouldn't make that much of a fucking difference. You know, like how she and Pinkie Pie constantly bullied Fluttershy. Like, I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons she, becomes a fucking killer. If you think this is a nitpick, that's fine and all. I just really wanted to bring this up because I feel like it's just flawed in multiple ways.
I don't even know anymore. This whole series is a fever dream. Surprisingly, I enjoyed it upon rewatching it. Maybe because I'm 10 years older, but that doesn't change the fact that I was traumatized by it though. And I'd like Hot Diggity Demon to send me a personalized apology letter, and I'll forward it to my therapist, which I do not have. Maybe I should get one.
Yeah, maybe a therapist would have stopped you from acting like a Puriteen on YouTube.
After rewatching all of these pony videos, I'm really considering it.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I mean, they're all weirdos, but I guess it's harmless enough.
Yeah, it could be worse. I mean, hey, at least they're not physically attracted to us. That would be really creepy. Right? right? Spike?
Yeah, about that.
I originally didn't want to talk about this, but there is definitely something the ponies produce which is arguably 100 times worse than My Little Pony gore. I want to tell you guys about how I learned about the birds and the bees. My parents never sat me down. I never had to have the talk. I knew about it from My Little Pony.
If you don't know what sex is, you should not be on a 13+ website.
I was like 5 or 4 at the time, and for some reason on YouTube, ponies reproducing was a common sight, like a very common sight. You didn't even have to look for it, it would just appear in your face randomly. I don't even know if I entirely understood what was going on in these videos, but I just remember it being everywhere. You know what I'm talking about. I feel uncomfortable even bringing this up, but bronies animated ponies doing stuff.
If you want to discuss sexual topics, but you're not mature enough to even say the word sex, maybe you shouldn't be discussing sexual topics.
And somehow that stuff was allowed on YouTube?
I mean, it depends on how graphic we're talking, but YouTube is a 13+ site, so I don't think YouTube cares that much about light sexual topics, but anything heavier is usually either age restricted or just straight up taken off of the platform. And what she's about to show in this video is very fucking light. It would easily be allowed on YouTube. I could post something worse than that and not even get age restricted.
And somewhere along the line, little 5-year-old Cesare came across it. It was literally everywhere, you can't blame me. I was certainly very confused, and I was even more surprised when I found out that what the ponies were doing were, the ponies were in the act of making a child. So when little infant Cesare put 2 and 2 together, her mind was blown. Like, wait, are you telling me that every parent ever did what these ponies are doing? And that's how I was made? And that, my friends, was the first time I've ever had a suicidal thought.
Most kids come to a similar revelation when being told what sex is by their parents, so I don't really see your point here. If you feel suicidal by the concept of sex, that isn't the brony community's fault.
I wasn't planning on showing you guys any of this traumatizing content because 1, I do not want to see that, and 2, I'd get demonetized, but I didn't even have to look for it. After a few days of rewatching all of these fan-made pony videos, I got a lovely little video that I got on my recommended page, and I was like, I remember seeing this video when I was younger, so I clicked on it, and I threw my computer out of the window. So I'll show it to you guys.
Welcome to my bedroom. Don't think that me letting you in here is an invitation for any funny stuff. I mean, not that I have a problem with funny stuff.
If this was the extent of the content you were traumatized by, I really don't know what to tell you. There's no actual sex in this video, to the point where if you don't know what sex is, you wouldn't understand this video. You had to have at least some concept of sex to be uncomfortable by this video.
What? Huh? This video has 9 million views. I hope you guys never feel happy again. Joy is overrated. All we feel here on the Cesare channel is pain. So this little clip was animated by Tiara Y, and their name is quite fitting because after watching their animations, all you'll ask is why? I watched a lot of their videos as a small child and I did not understand them, but upon rewatching them, I wish I didn't understand. If you want to be traumatized, you can check the channel out, but I'm not going to show any more of this. I'm tempted to because I feel like I got traumatized for nothing. I feel like I punished myself for no reason.
Have to. Why? Because if I don't, that means that all the damage I got isn't good damage. It's just damage. I have gotten nothing out of it, and all those years I was miserable was for nothing.
That's how I feel.
You are being such a drama queen over a slightly suggestive My Little Pony video. This is pathetic. Like, really, using that clip in the context of this video is probably one of the most dramatic things I've ever seen in my career in commentary.
But I have human decency, and I actually care about you guys, so I'm gonna keep my trauma to myself, and hopefully I won't explode and become a serial killer in the future. This definitely has to be the worst thing about bronies.
I hate to break it to you, but every fandom, and I mean almost every fandom, has NSFW artists. This isn't a brony exclusive thing, and as long as they're not targeting the content towards kids and all characters depicted are 18+, who fucking cares? I do think people should be putting content warnings on their sexual content on YouTube, but either way, I guess it wouldn't matter because I couldn't read when I was 5.
They just had to sexualize cartoon horses. Like, what do you find attractive about this? I don't get it. Like, I'm so mad.
You're mad at someone's sexual attraction to a fictional character. That's really sad, dude.
Do you guys realize that you are allowed to enjoy a female character without wanting to make love to it?
And bronies never said otherwise. Some of them just want to make love to Twilight Sparkle. Who fucking cares?
You do realize that, right? Especially if it's a magical horse made for little children. I just wanted to bring this up because I only now realize how messed up all of this stuff was.
What? The concept of people making adult content for other adults and you happening to stumble across it? Like, really?
I was too young to properly make sense of all of this. I just wanted to bring this up now that I'm mature enough to finally make sense of it all.
Yeah, because again, you weren't the target audience.
I wanted to end this video on a good note. My friend and I prepared a little surprise for you guys.
Yeah, so I'm skipping the end because it's just her showing off her My Little Pony toy collection. So, that's all. I hated every second of this goddamn video, and I hope you did too. This video's arguments as to why My Little Pony NSFW is harmful was literally just, think of the children. Yeah, no, that's not how the internet works. 90% of the internet is made for people 13 plus. If your parents were irresponsible and let you on apps that aren't appropriate for your age, that's their fault, not the people you are watching's fault. If you are under the age of 13, you would have had to lie about your age to make an account on YouTube. If you find content targeted towards an older audience, that is not the creator's fault. If a 5-year-old wants to pick their own videos to watch, they should be going on YouTube Kids. And yes, I have heard stories of certain things slipping under YouTube Kids' radar and accidentally getting on the YouTube Kids app when it's not appropriate for kids. But those are very rare occurrences, and if a parent is really worried about that, they can just watch YouTube Kids with their kid. I do personally think, though, that Cupcakes and Smile HD should have had better warnings. Like, really, I really do think that the warning should have been a bit more straightforward. I also think that the sexual My Little Pony content on YouTube should have a clear sexual content or 18 plus warning. It's one thing to criticize individual bronies for not putting NSFW warnings on the NSFW content, but just getting mad at My Little Pony not safe for work just because it's not safe for work is stupid and is just being a Puriteen. So, moral of the story, bronies didn't ruin your childhood, your parents ruined your childhood. Also, do you like the sneaky fact that I drew my brony character while talking about bronies? Please acknowledge that. Please tell me how cool I am for doing that.